Well, we're very proud of the beef cattle and dairy cattle in our lives. They've been very good to Rita and I.
If you walk around our operation, you know we do everything with pride around here. It's a family operation. We take pride in everything we do.
Minnesota beef producers have good reason to be proud about what they do. I'm Matt Whitboom. I am a Minnesota beef producer. We have a good story to tell about how we raise cattle, and our end product sets a quality standard second to none.
Now through genetics and through several really good seed stock producers within the state, we got just as good as cattle as anybody in the world here in Minnesota.
Minnesota has some of the highest quality cattle in the entire nation. These cattle that are standing here behind me are very much sought after by packers across the whole United States. And in fact, the demand for their quality is so high that over the last 5 years, they almost all go out internationally to the highest value consumers in the whole world.
But the simple fact is, consumers are becoming more and more separated from farms and ranches with each passing generation.
As consumers get further away from the ranch, our ability to have to engage them and tell them our story becomes more and more important. And unfortunately, in today's world, it takes dollars to engage them and get them involved.
And the good story that we have to tell is not necessarily a story that they know or hear. That's why the Minnesota Beef Council urges cattlemen who care to get involved.
So what would I like the checkoff to do? From the pasture to the plate, essentially, telling the consuming public what we do, how we do it, and how to get the best, most flavorful, nutritious, safe product on their plate to their families in the end.
One of the big things of the checkoff is to make sure all the consuming public understands what we do on a daily basis. And our story is so true and it's so real that what we need to do is make sure that if they had a bird's eye view of our operations, they'd say, gosh, boy, it's well done. Boy, they do a good job of producing beef for our consuming public.
And while consumers may be skeptical of today's production agriculture, research shows that they do trust farmers and ranchers.
I do like putting a face with a product, and in this particular instance, you're putting a rancher's face with beef. I think that's important. I think people like to know that there are people that are actually raising their meat.
I buy my stuff from the farmer's market guy, because I can shake his hand and I can know him. So if that's me as a serious food person, then you can take a couple steps down to moms who don't have the time to go, but they're still feeling that same need, and that sort of unease. If they can connect with someone that they've heard about or they can feel that they know, then that will give them that comfort so that they feel like they can buy it.
I think people are excited to know that their product is coming from, a sustainable, humanely raised. I think there's just more thought into it. I think there's more education for the consumer today in that respect. I think what you find is that more people make a conscious effort to feel like they're doing the right thing.
With your support of the Minnesota Beef Council, we'll be telling the story about how Minnesota beef producers raise our cattle with pride and handle them with care.
I think the best way raised with pride, handled with care, hits home for me is first the raised with pride part. I take ultimate pride in what I do. I like the fact that I raise beef. I'm proud of the fact that I raise beef. I am more than happy to show people how I do it. The handled with care part, I think a lot about that all the time. I think about it every morning when I'm up early to feed my animals, and in the wintertime when I'm putting bedding in the pens to keep them warm, and in the springtime when it snows during calving season and you're up all night trying to keep them out of the ice storm and the snowstorm.
Get involved. Supporting the Checkoff's efforts to educate consumers through the Raised with Pride, Handled with Care campaign will help boost consumer confidence, elevate beef's image, address misconceptions about our industry, and increase demand for beef.
And I think what our industry needs to understand is those people who want to eliminate our industry are extremely well funded. And if you look at the dollars they're pouring in to tell the consuming public a very different story, I think the dollars invested in Checkoff are well worth it, because we need to make sure they hear the other side of the story, the true side of the story, and how we're raising cattle and what our intentions are in our industry.